Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at a couple of polls over the past couple of days. We've got Trump up pretty big. He's up 8 in Arizona. But we're going to start in New Hampshire and things looking pretty good there for Biden in the general election. So we've got an Emerson poll. And in the GOP primary, Trump maintains a huge advantage with 49% of the vote. And if we look at this table here, they stack this up against the previous polls back in March and in August. He was at 58% in that March poll. He went down to 49 and he's still at 49. So even in a state like New Hampshire, where it might not be Trump's best state, he's not in any jeopardy of losing, and it doesn't really look like that's going to change. But what about the other candidates? Who's vying for second place? Well, that honor goes to Nikki Haley. Her previous polls had her only at 6 and 4%. Now she's surged up to 18. That's a respectable total. So if she's gaining, somebody else has to be losing. How about Chris Christie? It's not him. He stays at 9. Ron DeSantis, though, he's gone from 17 all the way down to 8, and now he's ticked down to 7. Ramaswamy went from 3 to 5 over the previous two polls, and someone else, an undecided, they're at 9%. So Haley making a small move here in the Granite State, but even with that movement, Trump has not even gone down 1 point. And if we look more into the details, Haley's best groups are voters over 40 and voters with postgraduate degrees. Trump still leads both of those, but we see the familiar pattern with Trump doing better with non-college educated voters. They also ask who their second choice would be. 22 go for Ron DeSantis. Nikki Haley maintains her 18% for second place. Then Vivek Ramaswamy, he actually goes up to 15. How about the Democrats? Well, with the ensuing chaos of Joe Biden actually not appearing on that primary ballot, we actually have 44% of Democratic primary voters undecided. 27% are going to write in Joe Biden. 15 are going for Dean Phillips, 10 for Marianne Williamson, 5 for someone else. I would imagine most of those undecideds are going to break heavily toward Joe Biden. Some of them might throw out a protest vote toward one of the other candidates just because of the whole incident with moving the first primary to South Carolina. But you never know, maybe there is more anger with those Democratic primary voters. We'll see what happens. But how about the main event between Biden and Trump? Biden up by 5, 47 to 42, 12 are undecided. If Trump is convicted, 80% will still support him. And in the four-way race between Biden, Trump, Kennedy, and West, Biden pulling in 40%, Trump at 37, 8 going to Kennedy, and 1 going to West. Still 14% undecided. And this has Kennedy's supporters coming equally from Trump and Biden. That comes out to 6% from each side. And with those Kennedy voters, here's a key stat right here. 75% of RFK voters say there is a chance they could change their mind and vote for someone else. So that is extremely soft support for Kennedy there. Now you could look at some of the other hypotheticals. If it's Biden and Nikki Haley, Haley is actually up by 6. Biden and DeSantis has Biden up by 8, 46 to 38. There was a time where DeSantis looked like he would be stronger than Trump in a general election. That's not at all the case right now. Doesn't mean it can't change, but that's another sore spot for DeSantis's campaign. Now what about independent voters? That's a key block in New Hampshire. They're breaking toward Biden, 47 to 36. There's some other hypotheticals on here. You can take a look at those if you'd like. Couple other things I'm going to point out here. Biden's approval rating in the state is at 37%, 53 disapprove. So that is a weak sign for Biden, but he is still clearly beating Trump in the head-to-head matchup. But what about the governor's race next year? Well, we've got an update on that. We've got Kelly Ayotte, the Republican. She's leading Joyce Craig 43 to 40. 17 are undecided. And in a matchup between Ayotte and Cindy Warmington, Ayotte expands her lead 44 to 37. So that's going to be a great race to watch. Ayotte has higher name recognition right now. It's going to be interesting to see how the Republicans do in a post-Chris Sununu era. That poll had 917 registered voters, so that's New Hampshire. Biden looking good against Trump there. Now let's move on to Arizona. And this was from Noble Predictive Insights. And you might remember them. They used to be called OH Predictive Insights. I guess they changed their name. But this sample size is over 1,000. And what have we got here? Well, it says encouraging signs for Trump in the Grand Canyon state. First, let's do the GOP primary. Trump here is at 53%. That's up from 50 over the previous poll in July. DeSantis, he's down 3 at 16%. Ramaswamy maintains at 9. Pence is already out of the race. Nikki Haley doubled her support from 4 to 8. Chris Christie at 3%. And then it's pretty much down from there. All the way on the right, none of these candidates goes from 7 all the way down to 2. So as the race goes on, looks like primary voters are softening up on at least one of these candidates. And of course, Pence and Scott have dropped out after this poll was closed. How about a hypothetical between Trump and DeSantis in the primary? Well, Trump is dominating that, 68 to 32. 2022. Here's an interesting table right here. This asks if primary voters are supporters of Trump or of the party itself, and this is broken down by age. Older voters clearly support the party instead of Trump. As you go younger, all the way down to 18 to 34, that flips. That has 53 supporting Trump, 43 supporting the party. Now that specific sample size is with 348 registered Republicans. Keep in mind that's going to be a wider margin of error. Now let's get to the main event. We've got Biden and Trump. We've got Trump with a decisive lead here, 46 to 38. 16% are undecided. Trump getting 86% of his own party. Biden getting only 78% of his. Independents are slightly breaking for Trump, 37 to 34. 29 are unsure. So that is a pretty significant poll for Trump, considering he narrowly lost the state back in 2020. Although with an 8-point lead, he's not hitting 50% of the vote. So even if the election were held today in this state, those undecideds could heavily break for Biden, and he still could carry the state. Now among registered Democrats, just like with the Republicans, they also ask if they're supporters of Biden or supporters of the party. This is mostly consistent. In total, it's 70% supporters of the party, 19 support Biden. There's a slight variation of the different age brackets, but overall the support for the party is much higher with the Democrats than the Republicans. Now if we go down here, we've got Biden and DeSantis. That one, DeSantis is leading, but it's by a much smaller margin. He's at 40, Biden is at 37. DeSantis gets 75% of Republican support. That's down from the 86 Trump was getting. And Biden getting 75% of Democrats. That's down slightly from the 78 he had against Trump. But what about independents? Well, there's actually only a small change here. Biden is ahead 34 to 33. So that's where things stand in Arizona. It's going to be a competitive state. I think there's enough there for each side to be able to win it. Trump carried it by 3.5 in 16. He lost it by under a half a point in 2020. The trends had been toward the Democrats. They're much more supportive of establishment Republicans there. That's not really Trump, so that creates an opening for Biden, but the border is a key issue there. Plus, Biden is pretty weak himself. There's a lot of different things that are going to play out over the next year. It's looking good right now for Trump in the state. Of course, this is only one poll. There are others, and they pretty much all show Trump with a lead right now. So right now, you'd rather be Trump than Biden, but we'll see what happens. In this poll, it would have been nice if they pulled that U.S. Senate election, but either way, that's a look at some polling out of New Hampshire and Arizona. So let me know in the comments, is there any kind of a path for Trump in New Hampshire, or is that state just gone? How about Biden in the primary there? Is he in the danger of not getting enough write-in votes? And what about Arizona? Is Trump actually favored here? Or do you think things are going to change, and with a crowded field, Biden could easily hold the state? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.